You're listening to Inside of You with Michael Rosenbaum. This has been a hectic week. You know, I don't know when this is going to air here, but...
We do know it.
This is going to air. We do know when this is going to air. Yeah. And this is actually airing right after I have done my live podcast. So I can't wait to be talking about that. But I'm going to live in the moment. Mm-hmm. And I'm going to enjoy just being there with people and just laughing and talking to Zach. And I mean, people say, are you really nervous about it? I was so nervous when I did mine. I mean, sure, there are nerves, but it's more nerves about making sure everything is right. The sound, the, things that I can't control are the things you usually worry about. I know I can control, talking to the audience, having some laughs, some questions to Zach, improvising, but you can't control everything, and you have to just sort of delegate. Is that the right word?
Yeah.
Delegate those sort of things to the people who know what they're doing and hope that it goes smoothly. I hope, what's the worst case scenario? Worst case scenario is like they go, yeah, it was really lame. And then they move on to the next thing. I hope that's not the case. I go, yeah, that was pretty fun. It was cool.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a podcast.
People will not hold as harsh grudges as you think.
Really?
I think that's a life lesson.
Yeah, I think you're right.
More often than not.
Yeah. Okay. Well, anyway, I hope all is well with you guys. We have a great podcast today. Candice King is here, and she's a freaking delight. We went out a few times years ago. We talked about that, which I didn't think we would. But she's so open, and she has a podcast, and I did it. It's amazing. We'll talk all about that stuff. And we talk about Vampire Diaries, and we talk a little bit about everything. Real quick before you listen, if you like the show, if you say, hey, you know what, this guy doesn't suck, I'd like to listen more in interviews. We have so many interviews that you could go down the rabbit hole with. The handles, give them the handles, they could follow us.
Oh, God. At Inside of You Pod on Twitter, at Inside of You Podcast on Instagram and Facebook.
That's correct. You can watch on YouTube and write a review, which really helps. And subscribe. It means a lot. You'd also go to the Inside of You online store and get tons of merch, Smallville stuff, signed by me, Lexsmith scripts, and ship keys. And on the talkvillepodcast.com, if you're a Smallville fan, we have this artist made pictures of me and Tom from the show, and we only did 55 prints. And so those are on sale. Get them because there's only 55 and then they're gone. So those are on the Talkville podcast. And I'm on the Cameo and a lot of other stuff. Also, go to my Instagram handle at the Michael Rosenbaum. In the bio is the link tree, and that has all the cons that Tom and I will be at. And we're doing Smallville nights and a bunch of other stuff. So make sure you hit that and find out where we are and come hug us. I like to see the patrons. I like to see you. So there you go. Patreon.com/inside of you if you want to join and support the podcast, which I couldn't do this podcast without you. Couldn't do this podcast without Ryan. Ryan's here.
I'm here.
Yeah. Exciting stuff. Are you you doing all right?
I'm doing okay.
Yeah? Why okay?
I'm doing okay.
I'm doing okay, man.
Just stressed out. Stressed out by things in life and trying to cope with it and trying not to peel my skin off and ride in a hole.
Well, what can you do? That's what we have to say is like, what can I do about the stress that I'm feeling?
If you can't do anything about it right now, then you got to shelve it. You were talking about that today.
That's
shelving things.
Shelving thing. If you can't control it and you can't change it, shelve it. It serves no purpose. You're thinking about something that you can't change. So you're just like right now, I could sit here and go, oh my gosh, the live podcast. What if there's no t-shirt gun?
But it did go well because we're in the future.
We're in the future, so it did go well. It did go well, Ryan. That's for sure. Thanks. Anyway, enjoy the podcast. Let me know what you think. I really appreciate you guys. And let's get inside of Candice King. It's my point of view. You're listening to Inside of You with Michael Rosenbaum. Inside of You with Michael Rosenbaum was not recorded in front of a live studio audience. How are you? You look the same as when I met you, I don't know, 15 years ago or.
God, yeah, it would have been that. Yeah, it would have been around 15 years ago. Thank you. I guess.
Yeah, how do you look so good? Is that Evian skin products? Evian? What is that?
I'm obsessed with skincare. I really am. I actually, I'm not trying to sound like an asshole, but I've only gotten Botox like 2 times, maybe 3 times in my entire life.
What?
And 2 of the times it's gone completely wrong. Like I'm jinxed. Like God tests me for my vanity and I just don't need a tester anymore. So I really just stick to the skin creams and filters. You know, you got to love a filter. I love a filter.
Are you using a filter right now?
Probably. But I wouldn't even know how to take it off. I don't know if there is one actually.
Ryan.
But I did set up a nice light. I am in my new living room to be, you know, officially a living room eventually. So I strategically picked the colors on the wall. This is all on purpose.
I like it. Who's watching the kids right now?
They're at school.
Ooh.
I know. I have a 7-year-old and a 2.5-year-old. And so my 2.5-year-old is actually in preschool now. So I'm like, actually, I know, but they're at school right now. I'm trying to relieve some of my mommy guilt, but I feel like it's for them. But I'm going to see them later tonight because right when I get off this call with you, I'm going to head over. It's a very big week. It's been a big 2 weeks here in Nashville. There's been special sessions having to do with, you know, gun safety laws and just common sense gun laws here. So, you know, I'm going to go meet some gal pals over at the Capitol and just see what's up.
Really? Just going after it. Going after it.
Why not? They call it the People's House because you can just go there and watch what's happening. It's pretty cool. Like I love Bravo television, but now I'm like, hey, this is very entertaining. Like anyone who's in a Bravo should just go to the Capitol building and see what's going on. You will be just as entertained. I promise you.
I like this. You know, I'm just gonna say it. I read something. It says women that Michael Rosenbaum has dated. And I don't know why, because I'm very secretive and whatever, but you and I went on one date 15 years ago. And I think
it was more than one date, first of all.
Well, I'd like to say that, but like you're the one who didn't call me back. So I was like, you know, even when I was like, hey, I'd love to interview you, I was like, no, I'm not. But yeah, I was like, you know, I thought it was a great date, but you know, obviously it didn't. You know, it takes 2 to tango. But you know, it says that, and I'm like, well, we went on a few dates, but we went to an event, and I think people saw us at an event, and so they assumed we were dating. Like, you know, oh, they're serious if they're at an event together. But we were both kind of CWWB, you know, a network without 3 letters. And so I think that's kind of, you know, what happened, and that's why it always says Candice. How do you say your last name? Your old last name?
Well, my maiden last name is Akala, and then even though I'm divorced, I'm keeping my married last name is King. So it's Candice King. Yeah,
it sounds better than Candice Akala or Candice King.
I know. My dad. I'm like, I'm sorry, Dad. It wasn't even, you know, my ex and I when the discussion of like. You get asked like, are you keeping your name or not? And I just was like, dude, it's an upgrade. Like it's a great last name. And we had a nice chuckle. So yeah, it's a good solid name. And yes, my children bear the same name. And so I should be using it for that instead of vanity. But you know, but Candice King just has a nice ring to it. But I'm curious, what article said that? Where did you know? Was it written by Shmichael Shmoesenbaum?
No, I mean, if you look up Michael Rosenbaum dating pass, it's got people on there that I don't even know. Like there's women on there that I've never met. What am I, Seinfeld now? What's going on? Akala, King, Rosenbaum. No, I don't know, but it was like, and I saw and I was like, I wish I had dated her.
I think we went on like 3 dates.
Okay.
Because I remember, I remember in particular that you were a very good date planner, and you've actually, in like my list of like top dates, like date experiences, yours is on there.
What?
Yes. And I'd be very embarrassed if you're like, I didn't take you on that.
No, I remember. I liked you. I thought you were adorable. But
well, there was we went putt golfing. I think one of them.
I think that was my last time doing it.
And then but the one that like really sticks out is it was my first time ever experiencing the Hollywood Bowl. And you took me to go see Carole King and James Taylor.
And I got you a shirt.
And you what?
I got you a shirt.
You got me a shirt?
Yep. You don't remember that. I remember that.
I remember that.
See, I mean, Carole King.
But I know. And it was such a great concert to the point where like James Taylor cried when he sang Fire and Rain. Carole King was like jumping up with the backup singers, singing with them while James Taylor was. I mean, it could not have been like a better, like, it was awesome.
Okay,
it was like
it was one of the best dates you could ever recall in your life. And then that was it. Now, my thought was, and Ryan here, who you can't see, my engineer, is probably thinking, he said something like, well, maybe she met this rock star right after or right during. And then she was like, oh, rock star, Rosenbaum. I'm going to go rock star.
No, it wasn't right after.
All right. It just didn't feel right. Whatever the reason was. But I wanted to bring it up.
Is this why you wanted to bring me on here? Just to like get closure? Have you been holding on to this? Is there like a voodoo doll of me in your basement?
No. I have nothing bad to say about you. I was like, she's a sweet, talented, awesome lady. Lady sounds.
I was a girl.
Yeah, just a girl.
I was a young lady. No, I think
we don't need to talk about it. I just wanted to bring
it's okay. You want to talk about it. Let's talk about it. No,
You're an open book. I like that.
I am an open book. No, I feel like looking back, because I knew we were going to probably talk about this, and I thought about it, and I knew that we were just in different places. Like, you had been in the business for a while. You had like great success and at a time when success came with like attention and premieres and parties and like, and events that is very different than it is now. Now like success is like, it's people on social media. It was different then. And you had already experienced this ride like on a network that obviously, because you were on it as well. It's a very like specific experience because it's also like a young audience. And I was at the very beginning of mine.
I know. You were just getting going.
I was just getting going, and I could tell like things that I was excited about. You were maybe already like been there, done that. Maybe like we're over. You know what I mean?
Oh, so like you were saying that I wasn't sharing your excitement, is what you're saying. That's what you're saying. You see this, Ryan? It was thrown back on me. I am always delighted and excited for people's success. But no, look, I get it 100%. I mean, we're in different places. I was in Vancouver. I was going back and forth, I think. It was just, for whatever, it was a moment in time. It was nice. We had a great time. Something we remember, the James Taylor concert.
And the putt-putt was fantastic.
Yeah, I won. I'm sure of that.
Probably. Yeah.
I don't hold back. Like if I ever do things like that when if I'm on a date, and I haven't gone on tons of dates. I mean, I guess I have in my life.
Well, I can check the list. I mean, when I research you now, I got to check your list of all the.
Just know that some of them aren't real.
I think we're going to just go through every single person and be like, yes, no, y'all just give you signs, like a green sign and a red sign.
Well, what's funny is because now that I know you're an open book and you've got, the podcast Superbloom, and you talk about people's lives and their, because we do that too. We talk about mental health and we talk about life and journeys, and I was like, I shouldn't bring up the divorce thing, right? And of course, first thing you bring up is the divorce. So, but like you seem so together, I guess it was amicable, right?
I mean, look, I think that it is that is for anyone who's ever experienced it. And what I'll say is just on the receiving end, like when I realized, like when I found myself in the position of understanding what the word divorce really meant, and not just emotionally, but also like the business of it. It's just like there's a reason why it's on a list of like some of the most stressful things. That also includes like moving, job loss, death, and even, as an adult or reading stories or having people who've experienced great loss in their life, when they talk about someone that they lose, or, the death of like friends of mine that have lost a parent, they'll also then get into like, it's the business of dying that is just so taxing emotionally, which is like canceling out all the credit cards, do like all these like day-to-day things.
The house and the
it's all the things. And so what was interesting is to find myself on the receiving end of a community of friends who had been through that experience and were able to, hold my hand through a lot of that. And I think that that's probably like, it's no matter what, it's difficult. And we also like share children together, not just children from our own marriage, but I was very involved with my, in watching my stepchildren grow up. And so it's like, I feel like there is no one word that encapsulates what divorce is. It's, there's many words.
How about a drag?
It's a process. I don't think that there's one word that really encapsulates the entire process.
This show is sponsored by BetterHelp. Ryan, you ever feel like your brain is getting in the way of living your best life?
All the time.
Yeah, I would say so. Like you know what you should do, what's good for you, but you just can't seem to do it.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Therapy helps you figure out what's holding you back so your brain can work for you instead of against you. And this is what happens with therapy. You have all these things bottled up and you need to let them out and you need to talk to a professional. It really, really helps. Therapy is a great way to learn positive coping skills and how to set boundaries. It empowers you to be the best version of yourself. And it's way more convenient with BetterHelp. It's entirely online and designed to be convenient, flexible, and suited to your schedule. Just fill out a brief questionnaire. It took me like a minute. It's so easy. Even I can do it. Then you get matched with a licensed therapist. Switch therapists anytime for no additional charge. Seriously, it's not uncommon. You meet someone, you're like, I want to try someone else. It's easy, just like that. BetterHelp is truly the best way to make your brain your friend. Give it a try. Visit BetterHelp.com/inside today to get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/inside. Inside of You is brought to you by Discover. If you like using debit over credit, don't you think it's time you also get rewarded? Well, now you can with Discover Cashback Debit. It's a checking account that rewards everyone with cash back on everyday purchases. Plus, there are no fees, period. We're talking date nights, thrifting the latest trends, nights out with your friends, and it's now earning you cash back with Discover Cashback Debit. Check out eligibility and terms at discover.com/cashbackdebit. Discover Bank, member FDIC. Yeah, well, I will say this. I think that there's a pressure too. I mean, the way I look at it, and maybe because maybe I'm a little more cynical, or maybe I look at things like, hey, most of the time when you go out with someone, whether it's a great date at James Taylor or whatever, it ends. 99% of those dates, they're not the one. And so when you finally found the one, 50% of the time that doesn't work out. So, the chances, if you look at odds, and you shouldn't when you're in love and you go, hey, this is it. I'm living in the moment. I'm following my heart. But the pressure of, I'm in Hollywood. I don't want to be one of those Hollywood actresses that get divorced. And, I want this to be forever. I always think if I'm going to do it, I want it to be my forever. And I don't want to be like a statistic. But it's like, you have to know in the back of your head, like, hey, this is a long time. You're saying I do to someone for could be the next 50, 60 years of your life. And what are the chances that's going to work out? I know that sounds kind of effed, but, did you put pressure on yourself at all going, I don't want to be that? Or did you not think about that stuff?
Is this how you talk to girls on dates now?
No, but
statistically, no, I know.
No, but I do. But I do talk to my girlfriends who are like, they put so much weight on things, and we all do. It's not just women, men as well. But like, hey, try to enjoy the moment, try to enjoy the person, and see what happens. But just know that most things don't work out the way you plan. So don't project. Don't look into the future. Take everything one day at a time. And I know that's difficult, but anyway.
Yeah, no, it's definitely difficult. I think that there's also, look, this is complete. This part is completely separate from me, but just you bringing up friends and like and just the general experience. I think that there's also two biological elements to this. There's also like, don't put pressure, don't think in the future, but if you are someone who is born with a uterus and who wants to carry or have a child, or, there is, it's impossible. And this is for someone that wants children. I know that there are plenty of uterus owning people in the world who maybe do not want children.
Say uterus owning?
Yeah.
Uterus owning.
If you have a uterus and you want to have a baby.
All right.
And I think that there are but if you do want to have a child, there is something to think about in the future. Like if you have the ability and that's something that you want, then there is like obviously looking into the future. And again, that's completely separate from my circumstance, but I just like, I understand why, you might have conversations with friends of yours who are women that are thinking like that.
Right.
But yeah, no, I think that like there's also so many different things that come down to it. I think it changes. Like if you do think of it and consider it in like a present minded mode, you start thinking about like if you do have children, like it affects other people as well. And then there's also just the reality of relationships, the ebbs and flows of any relationship, be it like business, familial, and romantic, that there is not a period of time where you're just getting along all the time. You have to work on it.
Yeah.
And so I think that comes into play too in any sort of long-term relationship, is just, you work on it and you see what happens. But yeah, it's such a personal thing, and it's so specific to like, there is no like one size fits all at all. Like there is things that work for friends of mine, even in just like friendships and relationships, where how I interact with some friends is going to be different into how I emotionally interact with other friends, because those relationships call for, different things.
Yeah.
All right. That's my roundabout answer.
I love it. I think it's very mature and it makes me look at things differently. Yes. Being a uterus owning individual, I understand what you're saying, and maybe I don't understand what you're saying, because why should I? I'm not uterus owning. So, but
uterus, you know what I'm saying. Someone who has a uterus. There are also women in the world who have their uteruses removed at different, it's like there's so many we could go into that conversation 10 million different ways. I'm just saying, if you are someone and you have and you decide that you physically are able to carry a child because that you want to do that,
right,
like you're going to project and think in the future of a timeline. And of course, then that gets into a whole route where, if you don't have those organs, there's a million ways that people can make families and create babies. And so,
yeah,
but that's what I mean when I say that.
Well, it's very articulate. You said it great. You said it well. Not great. I wasn't very good in English. I see your Instagram and it just looks like you have so much fun. Like you're at the Taylor Swift concert, you're wearing your little outfits and you're with your friends and you're taking pictures and you're just enjoying life. Do you feel like that you're trying to do that even more now? To just sort of, have things changed? You went through this lull probably with the divorce and all these things you had to do, but are you trying to just go, hey, I need to get out there, I need to have fun, I need to enjoy life? Is that kind of the mentality?
Oh my, no, I feel very grateful. I've always been having that much fun. And also I have tons of days where I'm not having fun. And I'm very stressed and anxious. And I came home last night from just like a wonderful trip, and I'm missing my babies, and I can slather on the mom guilt and just wear it like a heavy backpack and look around a house I just moved into that, I finally just got rid of the smell one place, but then this is broken and then that's broken. And there's I can, but I can look at the world that way and only look at the things that can be very frustrating. I also think that I can also see really wonderful, beautiful things. So, and there's also something to be said that Instagram and social media is just the highlight reel. We know that this is just a highlight reel. I'm not someone who airs my grievances, and that's just me. And I understand that for some people that works for them. Yeah. And I think that that's wonderful.
You know why? Because I think you're right. Nobody wants to see Debbie Downer, everything sucks, life sucks, because life can suck for everyone. And so maybe that's why we get on the Instagram. However, that being said, like, we want to see all the good things. But that's why I think, not to toot my own horn, but like listening to podcasts where people have real conversations, or your podcast or many podcasts out there. But I think there's a place for Instagram. I think it, obviously it's blown out of proportion, and everybody thinks that everyone lives the best life, and there's this jealousy thing, and I wish I had their life. And I used to think that way. And I have friends who are huge, successful people, way more successful than I am. But I don't want their lives at all, because everyone has their shit. Everyone has their shit. But I don't think you want to air that shit on a platform where everybody could see it. It's okay to say, hey, I've been through this, blah, blah, I can relate that. But like, but Instagram is that place where you go and you're like, oh my gosh, that's funny. That's hilarious. And you just, and you just keep clicking for the next great thing. But every once in a while, all those happy things, then you hit something really sad, and you're like, oh my God, that's tragic. And then you just go, oh, another thing, and that's funny. And it's just back. I don't know what I'm talking about. But anyway, I
think it's generational too. I think like that our generation wants to see the happy things. We were part of the kind of the birth of this social media app where people just, first it was Twitter and just updating like happy, quirky, funny thoughts. And, that's funny that's where it started. And then then Instagram started with just photos. And it's, turned into other things. I think for like a younger generation might see it as an opportunity to feel less alone. But then just parallel to that, they could also see it as an opportunity to feel more lonely, because they don't see themselves in the videos that are being curated to them, and it's making them feel bad. So it is like, you have to pick and choose. You have to, it's kind of like a radio station. Like, you have to go through the radio, like, or for the children listening, if there are any, it's kind of like your Spotify playlist. You got to like go in and curate your own playlist that's going to make you feel really good. Because it can get to the best of us too. I've definitely gone on social media and had that feeling of like, oh wow, look what's happening. I've had that FOMO of and fallen into the comparison pitfalls of.
That's the worst. Comparing is the worst.
It is, and that is also, I think, something that's really like, not to say that there isn't anyone who in various other industries, but I would imagine it's pretty heightened in the film and television. Anyone who's an actor has definitely felt that way. Yeah. And it's really hard to stay in your own lane, and like, it's like it's stuck with me, but I always think of it. Like, I don't know where I read or saw this, but the idea of like, if you're a swimmer and you're swimming in your lane, if you constantly are just looking over at what everyone else is doing and what their time is, you're just slowing yourself down.
Hang on though. See, in my mind, I'm like, oh fuck, I gotta pick it up. That guy's beating me. I gotta get to that finish line before that dude.
That's funny. No, it slows me down. It shuts down my creativity. I go, that person's already doing that, so I might as well just.
Yeah, it's like Chris Hemsworth. He's doing more squats on Instagram. What am I doing? Oh my God, I gotta start doing. And I'm like, no, you don't. You don't need to look. First of all, genetically, you're just not Crimson Hemsworth. You're just not
Crimson
that guy.
Hemsworth.
By the way, are you friends with Taylor Swift?
No. Why?
Oh, but you're friends with Miley Cyrus.
No. Why? No, I worked for her. I was a backup singer on one of her tours.
I know. I find that fascinating.
A lot of the people she's worked with. Yeah. But we know a lot of the same people. But I haven't run into her in years. But oh my gosh, she has this beautiful new song out.
That's what my sister Jess is telling me about this new song, and I go,
oh my gosh,
I don't know if Miley Cyrus. I listen to Chicago and like The Cure and stuff like that, and James Taylor. But I don't really listen to Miley Cyrus. But when I've listened to her, she's got a great voice and stuff. Should I listen to the song?
Yes, no, you should, and you should watch her video of it. It's very beautiful. It basically just is like, which I've had this conversation on repeat with so many of my friends in my 30s, especially like female friends who are looking back on like our late teens and our early 20s with such grace, who for these like young versions of ourselves that we may have judged really hard for a long time. Like it took me a long time to just not feel embarrassed or ashamed at so many parts of who I was when I was in my like late teenage years, especially, and my early 20s.
I know.
And just really kind of, and it's been really freeing to now all of a sudden look back at this like young girl and just tell her like, you were doing great. Like, you know, don't listen to everyone else. And you're figuring it out, and it's okay to figure it out. And it's okay to make mistakes, and it's okay to be loud, and it's okay to be quiet, and it's okay to ask questions. And so I feel like listening to her song, it was just this beautiful, you know, musical kind of part of that conversation that I've had with so many women lately. And also she's just always had an amazing voice, even when she was 14 and I was lucky enough to be backing her up.
Although I noticed, like, did you notice all those Instagrams when she's talking and she's like, well, I was like doing it. And then they cut into a frog doing it, like going, I haven't seen those. You haven't seen those. It's pretty funny. I mean, she doesn't talk like that, but everybody wants to make fun of everybody. People make fun of me all the time. It's just the way it is. Inside of You is brought to you by Neurohacker. I've talked about this many times, so if you're listening, I think you should listen again unless you've ordered some of this stuff. It's really helped me with focus and energy, and it's science. So hear me out on this. If someone would have told me that there are science-backed ingredients that could help me feel 15 years younger in a matter of months, I wouldn't believe it. And then I tried Qualia Senolytic. This is something, guys, that I was taking before they were a sponsor. And I didn't even know they were a sponsor. And I said, I'm feeling good and I'm not stopping taking this, if that's the right English. I wasn't going to stop. And then they're like, oh, yeah, you got spots. And I go, oh, they sent it to me. I thought I had ordered this. I've talked about this before. But boy, has this really changed the way I'm feeling and the way I'm thinking. It has changed me for the better. There's no doubt about it. As we age, everyone accumulates senescent cells in their body. Senescent cells may cause symptoms of aging, such as aches and pains, slow workout recoveries, sluggish mental and physical energy associated with that middle-aged feeling. I know that. Also known as zombie cells. They are old and worn out and not serving a useful function for our health anymore. But they could be taking up space and nutrients from our healthy cells. Much like pruning the yellowing and dead leaves off a plant, Qualia Senolytic helps remove those worn-out senescent cells to allow for the rest of them to thrive in the body. It makes perfect sense, and that's what's happening to me. I'm taking them, Ryan. And
good.
Yeah, and all you have to do is take them 2 days a month.
Wow.
That's pretty incredible.
The formula is non-GMO, vegan, gluten-free, and the ingredients are meant to complement one another, factoring in the combined effect of all ingredients together.
And, Ryan, it has a 100-day money-back guarantee. Anytime a product has that, I'll try it. If I'm going to get my money back, that's how confident they are. Look, higher levels of energy, feeling a lot younger. These are good things. I'm more productive, more enthusiastic about my life, less aches and pains, which you know if you listen to the podcast that I have. Look, help resist aging at the cellular level. Try Qualia Senolytic. Go to neurohacker.com/inside for up to $100 off and use the code INSIDE at checkout for an additional 15% off. Say goodbye to zombie cells and unlock your fountain of youth with Qualia Senolytic. That's neurohacker.com/inside for an extra 15% off your purchase. These statements have not been evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration. Products and statements are not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease. Hey, did you ever experience did you ever deal with You haven't seen those videos?
I'm like so nervous by this conversation. I'm like, I'm an open book. I'm so vulnerable.
No,
and I'm like,
no.
No, I know. This is great. This is good. This is
like
fantastic.
I said, good. I hope you know, you'll enjoy this. And when I come on yours, you could ask me anything. I like, honestly,
I know more people listen to yours than mine though. That's good. So I'm like, oh no.
Well, now they're not. Now they're going to listen to yours. And they should. If you're talking about real stuff, that's what people want to hear. The second I started talking about real feelings and not being, you know, trying to be funny and I just, you know, I'm just I never had pictured myself like a celebrity or like, you know, I always felt like I never belonged. So, you know, when I'm talking to people, there is that excitement. There is that, but how do you do that? How do you navigate through that? How do you deal? Like I was going to ask you, how do you deal with, have you dealt with anxiety or depression, and what did you do to get over that? Or what do you do to work on that?
I wouldn't say that I've ever been clinically depressed, and I think that it's easy. You know, I'm glad that everyone talks more about the feelings of anxiety and depression, and then, but also recognizing that there is very clinical versions of those experiences as well. And so, you know, I've been in therapy since I was 18. I've been in and out of therapy.
What got you into therapy?
I love therapy.
What got you in?
I had a friend. She was like one of my best friends in LA when I was a teenager. She was like the first friend that I really made there. And she was in therapy, and she was struggling with with some mental health. And so I realized that I was feeling overwhelmed, and I was like, well, she's into it, so maybe I'll try it. And then I got in there and I was like, well, this is awesome. This is great. It just started connecting all these dots of, it made sense of things that I couldn't understand, and took the weight off of me, just that it was like, it's me. Hi, I'm the problem. It's me, which I think is also important to acknowledge when it is you. But then also it helped me give grace in situations to try to understand and hold people accountable. I think that's another thing it helped me do. Is that it made me hold myself accountable, but it also gave me permission to hold other people accountable. And as kind of like a type A perfectionist people pleaser, that can be hard for me to do.
Don't you want like a therapist? Like my therapy session last week goes, do this. It was the first time I've ever heard, like most therapists go, well, what do you think about that? Well, what do you want to do about that? And the answer is right there in front of you. I should stop doing that. I shouldn't snack at night as much as I do. That's why I feel like, crappier in the morning. I mean, that's a bad example, but
what do you snack on at night? I think that's more
I just
important.
bought a movie theater thing, like popcorn maker. I love popcorn like nobody, and I make the best popcorn there is. Like
that's dangerous.
And I love it. I love it, but I always feel the next day I'm just dragging for a couple hours because it's just like, I guess, all the salt and all it's
the salt.
But I got to stop it, so I'm trying to slow down there. But what I'm saying is, like, those things that you don't like. A lot of people think I don't need therapy. I'm fine. My life's fine. But you could also make your life better, and you could understand certain things that you do for a reason. And if you don't like the things that you do, you can change them. And when you were talking about, things that you look back in the past and you shame yourself and you're like, oh, I did this. I'm a bad person. I regret that. It's all these things. And when you start talking about them, you realize like, we're not born into this world and we just are all perfect. We're all flawed, and that's just a reality. And you are going to do things that, you look back and you go, oh my God, if anybody knew that, they would think I'm just not a nice person, or if I'm not. But it's all about the end game, right? Like if you evolve, that's the goal, is to evolve, to not be.
That's the win.
That's the win. So, if I was a certain way when I was younger, it's not who I become today and who I'm becoming. So therapy has taught me a lot about how to, love myself, how to like myself, to look in the mirror and go, hey, dude, you're a good guy. You're a good guy. You do good things. Sometimes you're a dick. Right? You didn't need to say that. You didn't need to say the dick part. You just say you love yourself. And, are you good to yourself? Do you love yourself? I know that's
I know you've probably talked about it already, but just so I have context, when did you start going to therapy? How old were you?
Right after you didn't go out with me again, I think. No. Everybody's like, oh, shut up, Rosenbaum. Enough with that. No, honestly, I think I went through this breakup where it was my fault and I tried to get her back and it didn't happen. And it was devastating. And I know that I caused it. It was my fault. And so one of my friends suggested, is like, you should talk to someone. I'm like, well, what am I going to do? I went through a breakup. Oh, poor me. But people go through this. This is what you need. It's nice to talk to someone objectively and just say, hey, I feel this emptiness. I don't want to do anything. I lost my appetite. I can't stop. I'm obsessive thinking about this. And, and I've never been the guy where I was like ever checking up on someone or like not weird shit. It was just in my head. I just felt like shit.
Yeah. You carried it. Yeah.
I carried it. And it took a while to get rid of that. And just talking to someone for an hour. And a lot of times Ryan here, I got him into therapy, but we think, I don't want to go. Fine, I don't want to talk. I'm not in the mood. I'm going to cancel this. I'll eat the $100 or whatever the fuck it is. And I'll just, I'm not going to do it today. I have nothing to talk about. And then all of a sudden you start talking and, all of a sudden you're like, holy shit, I got 5 minutes left. I still want to get into this. Every time you just letting things out kind of clears a little bit of that, a little bit of your mind. So,
and I'm a natural talker. I had to also realize that I can, like, there's certain, I would lean on friendships a lot. And so that's where I also had to, check myself in adulthood, is really making sure I had a place where I could go that also wasn't like, oh, let me release all this weight that I'm carrying and be like, here, you organize it.
Yeah.
Marie Kondo it for me. Where I had to kind of take responsibility and do that. So it didn't affect other friendships and relationships of mine. But the other thing I'll say that I always like to say for anyone that listens and is like, well, I'm never going to go to or I tried therapy once and it didn't work out for me, is like, that's not one size fits all either.
No.
It is if you go to a therapist and you don't like the way they do therapy, like, you should always make a few appointments. Like, a lot of therapists will offer like potentially a free introduction, session.
Or change therapist. If you don't feel the vibe, just change
therapist.
It's not your fault if it doesn't work out.
No. And if they're a good therapist, they should say like, absolutely, like, let me know if you need any recommendations. Hope you find someone. Anyone who tries to guilt you into staying, like, is usually not a good sign.
No, I had one guy. I left him years ago. I went to him probably a handful of times. And because one of my friends went to him, he's like, he's really good. And it's like the third session, the guy's like eating a Subway sandwich while he's talking to me in the room. He's just eating a Subway sandwich. He goes, I'm sorry, I haven't had lunch. Are you okay with that? I'm like,
no.
Do I have a choice? Well, you're hungry. What am I going to say? No. And then it's awkward for the next hour, but you're picking out on this fucking sandwich. Do you have to put so much mayo on there? It's on your fucking lips. So yeah.
No one looks professional eating a Subway sandwich. It is.
No.
No.
Were you blown away by the success of Vampire Diaries? Were you like, because that was like the first big boom, right? And I mean, were your parents blown away? And I wanted to talk about your parents and see if they wanted you to get in acting. And they're like, oh, I don't know if you should do this, but they knew you were talented. You were always singing. You're always doing these things. But were you surprised by the enormity of it?
I remember I knew that I was a part of something special. I had never done a pilot episode of anything. I had tested for pilots. And so I was very green. And I just remember at many group dinners after hours and everyone who I had admired in the industry for a really long time, who I am lucky enough to consider friends now. I just remember them like they had this like look of like Christmas morning on their face. Like there's something special happening. And so I didn't know what it was, but I wasn't scared. I just knew that like this was going to be fun.
And you did 171 episodes. You did
two spinoffs.
You did more episodes than I did. 8.
Well, 17. I didn't do the full ones, but just the success of the of the series itself. It's really incredible. And I know you feel that when you do conventions as well. And it's interesting. I feel like there was like what Comic-Cons and conventions used to be back in the day are very different than what they are right now. One, I think just because more people participate in them on both sides, from all walk. It's not just like a niche kind of genre thing. And also like, I think that this generation of consumers, of like entertainment consumers, like they want a piece of like what they're seeing, and they want to like, to have the opportunity, like having the all access on like social media and seeing, there is no like secret version of like, I just read like Evelyn Hugo, The 7 Husbands of Evelyn Hugo, and it's a wonderful book.
That's on your Instagram.
I just posted it today.
Yeah, I noticed it today, and I was like, nah.
It's so good. I finished it last night. Would
I like it?
But it's really good. But it's all old Hollywood. And there's no like secret life. There's, people make sure that they have a connection with the viewers. So, but all that to say, it is wild. It is wild. I wouldn't say I was surprised. But I was surprised that I was part of it.
When you go to conventions, do you ever have fans that are emotional or talk to you about like how it changed their life or it meant so much to them? Because I have that, which is pretty freaking profound to have someone say, your show saved me. I'm like, come on. I mean, I know the song on the show was Somebody Save Me, but like how did a show like this save you? In my mind, I don't say it like, come on, what's wrong with you? But like when they start telling me like, this is what my dad and I watched, and my dad passed, but I always had these memories. And when I went through a hard time, I'd go back and I'd watch these and whatever it was. And it just like blew me away how something that seems so trivial, we get paid to make pretend, and then people coming up to you and saying these things, it really had an impact on me, and it still has an impact, but I'm sure you've gotten that.
100%. And it is a lot of parents and children, or some people who've lost significant people in their life and that would enjoy a show together. And also, being a part of something that was rooted in grief, while some I think could argue that it was rooted in love, a lot of it was rooted in grief and loss. So I get that a lot. And also I totally get it, I told this, I was at the airport, this like 2 years ago. And and there was someone walking by. She was a flight attendant, and she came back with someone else, like one of her coworkers. And she just started crying about like this loss that she had experienced in her life. And she had gotten so depressed in a relationship that had ended. And she just started to cry and said, she was so alone, but she could watch, a show every single night and know that like she could come home to that. And then I start crying because I said, and she's like, I know you probably think I sound crazy. I'm like, no, you're not crazy at all. I have the same thing. Like I have those same feelings, and I have shows that I come home to, and that I know if I need to cry or if I need to laugh, or I have like bouts of insomnia, that I can just like leave my computer on and it plays in the background. And so, and I've also learned that like, I feel really grateful to have learned like that it's such a waste of time to be cool. Like all the cool people in the world are really like the fans. You know what I mean? Like people who are willing to be fanatic about something that they love.
Yeah, that's cool.
And without any shame or like guilt or like like this is embarrassing. No, it's not. Like it shouldn't be embarrassing to like celebrate something that brings you joy. That should not be embarrassing. It's like, and I'm talking about very simple things, you know what I'm not like, but things that are like a show or a movie or a universe of
or a book
characters
or whatever,
or a book or a musical artist, you know, like that's okay.
And it makes you feel like you're doing your job. I mean, you know, a lot of times we do. I mean, look, I've done a lot of shit, man. I mean, just when I call it shit, like not good, you know, product out there. And I've done some great stuff and so, whatever, but
it's called a job. You're working.
It's a job, but sometimes like you do something that sometimes you do something that impacts people, and I think it's great. Did you get along with everybody on the set? Was it always just one big happy family, or were there a couple of people you were kind of like, I do not want to work with this guy?
It was like, I mean, what's funny is I was just I was at the lake with Julie Plec and in Atlanta and also Karina McKenzie, and they're incredible writers. Julie is writer, showrunner, and Karina as well has gone on to also, she was a writer on, I always forget like because we're still on strike. So I'm trying to be respectful of not like mentioning exact things, but
can't talk about
but people
things.
Who I've worked with. And so, but we were just talking about like, and then someone else who was one of our ADs, assistant directors for many, many years, was there as well. And one of our camera operators, we were just having like a little like catch up. And it was just we were just laughing at how often it would be like midnight, you know, on a Friday. And we'd all be like, all right, well, where are we going? Like, we don't like want to keep hanging out together.
See,
we always hung out together. We're still hanging out together.
Even the guys and girls, or just the girls?
No, these like guys and girls. Like I especially the conventions are really helpful as far as like on other actors. Like, I mean, me and like a whole group of the guys just like we'd be like, all right, I'll see you in a couple weeks in, you know, this city and Berlin or wherever we were last year in Liverpool. And I plan all the dinners because, you know, someone's got to be the planner and the mom of the group. Yeah. And I'm too much of a type A personality to just go to any restaurant that isn't that great. So I would rather make the reservations like months ahead of time.
You know, it's funny because the last thing I wanted to do on Smallville was hang out with anybody on the cast or crew.
It's all we did.
No, like it
Which
wasn't
is so funny. I know. I've heard this from other.
No. It wasn't like we didn't like each other. But when you're working 12, 15 hours a day, a lot of us were, mostly Tom. Tom was very honest. I don't want to see you. I have 2 days off. I don't want to see you. I'm like, I totally get it. Seinfeld again. But you know, but like now it seems like after years have passed, we had a real respect for each other. And now when we go to cons, Tom and I have become really close friends. We have the other podcast, Talkville, and Kristen and I, who is Lana, she and I are really cool. And we love seeing each other. We love spending time together now. It's like we now that we've grown up a little bit. Well, they have, but you know, so but it's nice because you hear a lot of horror stories. So, and there's a lot of youth going on in your show. So I figured there was a lot of like cool and angst and this and that. And
look, it's with any, I mean, high school is 4 years. This was 8. Like, you know, like 8 years.
I wasn't popular though in high school.
I wasn't either.
You weren't?
I left high school.
What do you mean you left high school?
I left halfway through my junior year and graduated through correspondence.
Really?
Yeah.
Why did you do that? Did you do it because you're acting in your music?
To become an international pop star.
How did your parents feel about that? How did your parents feel about that?
They were great. They were incredibly supportive, actually. My dad's a cardiovascular surgeon, and my mom worked for a very long time as an environmental engineer. And so for them to both succeed in their fields, to them that was like their version of becoming international pop stars. So they always supported me as I did vocal lessons. I started a girl group. I like got a band together. I'd like, you know, I was always instigating everything. And then I had gotten a development deal in LA, which was a thing that they used to do, where it basically kind of like sponsor an artist and pay for their sessions with other writers and producers, or I don't even know if they were paying at that point, if all these people who were writing with me or were just showing up because you just hope something comes from it. But they basically, and then I was able to make a demo and it was shopped. And this was, so I left halfway through my junior year with a development deal. And then within 6 months, I had a record deal and a publishing deal. So my parents let me stay.
That's just insane.
It's so silly.
Do you
I
love
look back
music?
and I'm like, that's insane.
Do you
that
love music
insane.
more than acting? Would you rather be like, if somebody said, would you rather be a rock star or an actor? I'd say rock star. I'd rather be a rock star. If I had, and I have a band and we play and we don't try to be rock stars. I write all the music, and Rob and I just work well together, and we love to play virtual live, and we played some out, and we have 2 albums, and we just enjoy it and love it. And there's a passion. And do you still have that passion for music? I know now you're a mom, you're a mom and you've got all this stuff going on. Do you still because you've had albums, you've had success, a lot of success, but do you want to continue?
Not musically.
Do you want to continue music? Do you want to still kind of keep writing and playing?
No, I haven't written in a very long time.
Why?
Because I have a very complicated relationship with like music when it involves me. I love music. I am staring at my record player and my handful of records that I've kept away from my moving boxes, and I'm so excited to get that back going. I bought a piano just so I could hear the sound of my children like slamming their fingers into it, because I just love that noise.
God, you like that noise.
I love it. Oh, I love it. Because I spent so long, like one of the things I kept saying in this last year, which could bring me down a whole other tangent, so I will attempt not to do that, but that I like last year, my entire personality became golf, and it kind of became like a joke for a while.
Wow, I love golf. You're playing golf?
Well, I was playing golf. It's a bigger, longer story. But I accidentally became like a golfer, but I'm not good at it. Because
nobody's good at golf.
But I'm not great at it. And so I was trying to be, but what I wanted to do was be better at being good at not being great at something. Like that is what I really wanted to be better at. And I remember being like, I want my kids to be able to just play messy keys on a piano and not have to be like, no, this sounds good and this sounds bad. Because when you're creating art, like I would just be paralyzed by like a white piece of paper. And if I started something that I had decided like wasn't the way it was supposed to turn out, I'd be like, well, then what's the point? And I just like, I want to create an environment in which like, there is no like one sound of, and they'll find it. Like, I wish I'd had that to just be able to like play a bunch of keys and wonder like, how does this sound? What is this? And be curious, as opposed to so constricted.
I love what you just said. And what I interpret that as is, for me, it's always, I'm playing softball tonight. I've got to be great. I've got to hit a home run. I've got to be the star. I'm going to play anything. We played cornhole the other night. I got to freaking show everybody I'm a cornhole master. I'm going to write a great script. You're putting so much pressure on yourself, and you're not enjoying things that you're like, I have to be perfect. And the reality is you can't be. So if you could just enjoy things that you're not really great at, but you enjoy doing them, and watching your kids just mess up and learn that it's okay to just be stupid and playful and happy. And I think that's because we put so much pressure on ourselves. And we feel like the world puts pressure that we have to, like if we put something out there, it has to sound great. It has to be, because we have to compete. We have to show that we're just as good. And what I gather is that you're saying in a lot of ways, you want to just be able to not put as much pressure on yourself and just enjoy things.
Yes, and not to say that there aren't things that I want to win at, and that I consider myself to be good at, and have a level of expectation of how I should operate within that field or experience. But also in things that like, I'm not a professional golfer, I'm picking it up. I mean, it all comes back to, I keep getting just so many jokes about how like so often in this last year, I'm like, I went to Scotland last October and had this like life-changing trip. But I did. And I found myself playing like, I wasn't playing the old course, but I was in St. Andrews and I hadn't golfed in years and I was alone and just showed up. I hired a caddy. And he was like, all right, are you ready? And then I didn't even have time to warm up and I'm on Jubilee and it's one of the windiest days of the year. And I was like, I don't know if I can do this. I don't know what I'm doing. And he was just like, oh, just hit the damn ball. And I was like, okay. And sometimes you just got to hit the damn ball.
Yeah.
It might not go straight. It might go all over, but just hit the damn ball.
Or just take
a swing. And him and I had a great time. His name is Dr. Tom. He also happens to do sports. Dr. Tom.
Did he have an accent? Did he have a really thick Scottish?
He was just like, he was the best. Yeah. Sometimes you just got to hit the ball. And honestly, I had the best freaking day of my life. It was just so fun and it was so beautiful. And if I had decided that this wasn't something that like I was good at or a place that I shouldn't be at, or that it's only for like really, it's like it was just so silly to even have thought that. And it was wonderful. So sometimes you just got to get out there and hit the damn ball.
You heard her. Hit the damn ball, folks. Or just take a swing. Even if you don't hit it, you swung.
Yeah.
Pick up the club. Just pick up the club.
Yeah.
It's a metaphor. It's not. What was I going to say to you? Do you still love acting? Do you still want to act?
Yeah, I really do. I really, really do. I'd had a period where I wasn't working very much, and just home with the family more. I'd also had a second child during COVID, and I went back to it, and I had 2 different jobs. One was like getting back to it, and just 4 months after I'd had a baby, and just to kind of work a little bit, and it felt nice. I liked like having that. That part of my identity, kind of awakened. And then to go back to work, and then I worked again a little bit more last year. And it was just nice to, have things that I was nervous of whether I was going to be good at it, but like know that I could be good at it and do the best that I could. And I really do love it though. I love being on a set. I love a scene partner. I love, making sense of some, like understanding a character and understanding like what makes someone else across from me in the scene, like what their triggers are, what their buttons are, and trying to push them and see if I can get to them. And I just also love storytelling. Like I love TV. I love TV. TV is my favorite person in the world. I have so many shows that I watch. I also do watch a lot of reality TV. So I like that is also, I know but that's, I think it's very interesting. Like current character development from these reality TV stars is very interesting to watch.
It's funny. Well. I sold a reality series because I'm a big fan of horror movies. Like I love scary stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And so my friend John Heater, who's Napoleon Dynamite, we sold a show where we're just 2 guys going to the scariest places on earth, 2 like idiots. So we go to like the catacombs of Paris and Transylvania castles and like stuff. And just like, it's just our personalities, and we love horror and we love scary. So really think of so it's something like, I never would do that. But then I'm like, wait a minute, you love scary stuff. You're going to hang out with your friend. Why can't you just go do that? Why? So, I mean, it's not like I'm doing MILF Island. Did you see that?
I did not watch that one.
Oh my God. So all these MILFs.
I know. I have a problem with that. Like the name itself. No. But that was also a joke.
It was a joke
name on a different show.
It was a 30 Rock joke.
It was a 30 Rock joke.
Yeah.
Look, my friend Nate, I was in Indiana and I picked him up to go to dinner, and I go, hey man, did you get some sleep last night or something? And he goes, nah. I go, okay. He's not a man of many words. And I go, what'd you do? He goes, well, I watched this show called MILF Island. And I go, MILF Island? He's like, yeah, all the women are MILFs. And then all of a sudden they bring in all these 21-year-old guys who are their kids. So now all the MILFs and the kids are.
No.
I mean, I had to watch. I had to. It was just so, I couldn't believe it's funny. It was on the fucking Learning Channel, Candice. How is that? How are you learning?
I mean, I think we should all learn that we don't need that show. Maybe
I think that's it.
Or maybe they're just studying to see who watches that show and what they can learn from that data.
I don't know. All right, look, this is called ShitTalkin with Candice King. I'm going to ask you questions from my top tier patrons. So go to patreon.com/inside of you and get to ask questions and a bunch of other cool shit. All right, Leanne says, do you believe in the supernatural, and have you had any experiences along those lines?
I believe that there's, I don't know if like they're, I don't want to piss off the ghosts of my house, but yeah, I definitely believe that there's something, I definitely feel I've lived in a lot of old places, and I've had a lot of people say that the places I've lived in feel like there's, they might say ghosts or spirits or vibes. I have this running joke right now that the ghost of my house that I just moved into, it's almost 100 years old.
Whoa.
And that they like my kids. They're very nice to my kids. So there's nothing like scary going on there, but they're just like really fucking with me and like just trying to like show me who's boss.
Really?
And I don't know, like some cabinetry almost fell on my head in the kitchen that I'm trying to renovate. Like every time I turn around, like I had like bees in a tree. Like there was a smell, but I also just got all the air vents cleaned out. And so that took away that. But there's always like little things. And I don't know, I never pay attention enough to like see if they're like, did I leave that cabinet and drawer open or was that just there? I don't know. But I'm used to it at this point.
You're thinking about it.
But sure, I feel like it is a running joke now that I've never lived anywhere that didn't have like spirits of the history of the house. But I think I'm winning them over.
Yeah.
I think that they like my renovation ideas and they know that like I'm laughing with them. And I also I think that they honestly, part of it was I was playing a lot of Taylor Swift. And now that I'm like post Eras tour,
they've had it.
And I've like slowed it down, my T Swift in the house. And I feel like they've calmed down a little bit. I think that they were just like, you got to switch it up.
Raj, tell me about a recent time someone helped you out.
Oh my.
Probably through the divorce, right? You were talking about that.
Well, yeah, but like also just, I even just like moving into this house. I mean, I haven't like the amount of people who have just supported me, like my friend who also was my realtor, like she's helped introduce. It's just been this wonderful sense of community that I've found here in Nashville, and I've been so grateful. And so to feel just like, people checking in and people just being like, hey, how's the move going? Can it, like, when you move, no matter what, you have like so many people help out. And also, I co-parent, but also when my kids are with me, they're with me. And so to have friends that are willing to come by and like one of my friends, she was visiting in town. We've known each other since we were 16. And I was like, it's a school night. I can't go out. But I can make you dinner here. And so she comes here and is playing with my kids and we're catching up and she's having dinner while like, one's doing gymnastics and another one's like throwing dinner on the floor. And, and she's just, it's like that kind of love and support is really beautiful at this point in life.
I grew up in Newburgh, Indiana, which is about 2 hours from Nashville. And I played hockey in Nashville. I love Nashville. I mean, Nashville's a pretty banging city.
Yeah,
do you think I like
it.
Nashville? I've thought about it. That's one of those places that I've considered, like if I moved, I'd go to Nashville. Would I like it?
I don't know. I don't know what you like.
Oh, good. Michelle L., who inspires you?
Who inspires me?
What's the first thing that came to your mind just now when I said that?
My kids and Lucille Ball.
You love Lucille Ball. My mom loves Lucille Ball.
I love Lucille Ball. I was just like, I love Lucille Ball. And also just rereading that book, like that, or just reading the Evelyn Hugo book. I was thinking a lot of just, her career and just how much she, like the fact that Lucille Ball like created her whole, like she created how we watch television, the 3 camera structure. I mean, her and Desi Arnaz, but like But the fact that them together, and that even after they divorced and they separated, like he still came back to do all of the shows. Like Vivian Vance worked with her on her later show. Like it's just really incredible what they did. And she also succeeded later in life. I mean, she was in her like mid to late 30s, I think, when I Love Lucy started.
Wow.
It's just incredible. I'm just so in awe of Lucy and Desi, Desilu Productions, and just that whole story. But also I love watching I Love Lucy, and like the mink coat episode cracks me up too, because she's kind of like, she's actually not the funny one. Like everyone, like she's kind of more the, like everyone else is messing with her, and where she's usually the one messing with everyone else. But
Jessica B, when was the last time you surprised yourself?
Last time I surprised myself.
I think I saw something behind you too. I think I saw something like, I don't know if my eyes were playing tricks on me, but when you were saying all that supernatural stuff, I thought I saw something, but maybe it's nothing. It was outside.
Maybe. Oh, it's the flag. There's like a flag.
It kind of creeped me out. I was like, oh my God. Did I just see that after she?
Well,
we captured something here.
Yeah.
Oh my God. This is amazing.
The last time I surprised myself was, I think in mothering, I surprise myself a lot. Like I find myself in situations where I'm just like, oh gosh, this is a moment, and not like, and I just need to take a deep breath and like walk through this, talk through this moment very slowly. And but I surprise myself as a mother a lot. I don't know. That's what popped into my head.
I like that. That's sweet. Eternal Flame. And also Voices Carry. Voices Carry is one of my favorite songs. You know that song? Not you, Candice. Ryan, do you know that?
Eternal Flame?
No. Do you know Voices Carry? Hush, hush. Keep it down now. Voices Carry.
No.
Shut up! I love when she says, shut up! You know what I'm talking about, Candice?
Yes. So Voices Carry, I recorded when I was 17. And it was not my doing. I was not that cool. It was my producer, Stacy Jones, who had mentioned it. Stacy's awesome. Stacy's who got me the no. What are you doing on your phone?
I wasn't doing anything. I wasn't going to look up your song. I was just playing the original.
Playing the original. Okay.
Yeah, because you don't want to hear that. Look. Anyway, that's it. You know what?
No, I still don't know.
It's a great song. I wish I was that cool when I was 17 years old. But that's my only attachment to it, is like that recording it then. And then Eternal Flame, I performed on the show, and that was also not my.
Were you nervous in front of the crew and cast?
Yes, and also that was not. I just remember getting a text one night, so I was out at dinner, and I remember, I think it was like Julie and Kevin text me, and we're just like, "Hey, remember how you said you were a singer? Like, are you good? Or like, can you sing for real? Or was that just like?" Like on, I don't. They were just like, "Can you sing?" And I was like, "Yeah, I think I can." And then they put it in the show, and I just was like, "Oh gosh!" And I remember even just like going. But what is fun is I did get to go. I ended up back at the studio where I recorded my record when I was 17. So it was like very kismet that like one of their kind of producing partners, who also like co-rented the studio with them, who I'd known back when I was a teenager too. Like he was the one doing the session. And so I literally and went back to that studio where I used to record when I was 17 years old and recorded that part, which was very fun. But I also like never thought I would do it again. They were like, well, it's weird to have like supernatural beings and then one of them just randomly sings, so we probably won't do that again. And I was like, whew, okay, good. And then a couple years later, it was like every other episode. I was like, what are we doing here, guys? This is my nightmare. I do not enjoy this. I don't like this. Like, please stop. And then eventually it ended.
Hey, You know, I think you have a great voice. I think you should.
Well, thank you.
I think you should keep singing. In fact, we're working on our next album, and if I have something in there, would you record something, even if it's like a backup or something?
I will support you finding a wonderful artist out there.
You don't want to sing? You wouldn't want to sing on it at all, just a little?
Hey, I'm just not there yet, and I don't know when I'll be there. My kids hear me sing all the time.
What if you listen to a song and you're like, I really like that song and I could do this. This is easy. If you just want this, like, then you can say, let's not say no just yet. Let's keep it up in the air.
Perfect.
What's your favorite James Taylor song?
I mean, Sweet Baby James just came into my mind, but I know that's not my favorite
a good song
of all time.
Well, this has been awesome. I'm glad I'm doing yours too.
I know.
Superbloom,
a Superbloom podcast, wherever you listen to podcasts. It's been fun. I do love it so much because it gives me a reason to reach out to people that I'm like a super fan of that I would never normally talk to. And, I like even sitting down, I got to like hang out with Emily Henry, who I love her as an author, and which I would never normally do. And then also there's this really cool woman who she's a glaciologist, and so to be able to talk with her about how she's like traveling the world and just chasing history as it melts away to have a better understanding of where we all came from before it's gone forever. It's like, I love talking about that kind of stuff. It's my favorite thing. So there's all kinds of conversations. But and that's really my excuse. If you listen to Superbloom, you're getting just like a snapshot of my mind and all in my browser history of all the little like spirals I go down.
I'm nervous. What are you going to ask me?
Ooh, so much. Now I'm ready. I'm glad you got to go first. This was all part of the plan.
Oh, great. Yeah. I have a feeling where this is going to go. My mind takes me somewhere. Well, I love talking to you. I feel like I could talk to you forever. You're just awesome. You're just so easy to talk to. I love, like, you're such I could tell what an amazing mom you are, an amazing friend, and you're super talented. And I'm just happy and proud of you. And you're going to stay in Nashville. You just bought this 100-year-old haunted house. So you're probably not going to move to Los Angeles anytime soon.
Nope, I'm here. I gotta hang out with my ghosts. I can't leave them. They need my company.
They have names?
No.
Let's name them. Let's name them.
I know. Well, no, I don't want to anger them. I'm not trying to. They need to tell me their names. But I know that I feel like there's two.
This has been awesome. I'll see you in a week or so, right? Don't do too much deep thinking on this one.
I'm gonna start typing on my computer right now.
Guys, you got to go listen to it. Superbloom, Candice King. Thanks for being here. I appreciate you.
Thanks. Thank you.
Beautiful inside and out. So pleasant. And I was like, man, I would have totally married her. She's that kind of presence where I just felt like she's got a good soul. She's smart. She's beautiful. She's just, and she was very open and like forthcoming. And I always dig that. So Candice, you're top notch with me. Thank you for being on the podcast. I really do appreciate it. Now we've had 2 Vampire Diary cast members. Now we just need the summer holder.
Yeah. We've been talking
the Summerhold Institute.
Because we've been talking about him a lot on the other podcast.
I wonder if he'd do it. He might be big time, too big time. I'm gonna start tweeting him and go, you're too big time.
I bet he'd come.
You do?
Yeah.
I don't know. I think we have the same lawyer, so I'm gonna talk to my lawyer.
There you go.
All right. Thanks for listening. If you didn't listen to the beginning, go listen to that because it's got a lot of stuff. I have a bio on my Instagram. You go to the bio, it has a link tree. It says all the cons we're doing. It says we're going to, Rhode Island and Cameo and the merch store. Check it out. All right, let's read the top tier patrons. Here they are. Top tiers, patreon.com/inside of you. Couldn't do this without you. I love you. And Ryan, you don't have them, do you? You can't read with me.
I mean, I could pull them up on my phone, but we can also play the guessing game again.
Leah and.
Oh, it's not. Craig.
No, remember?
Dan.
It used to be Leah S. and Kristen K.
Right.
So now it's Leah and Kristen.
Oh.
They're best friends and they're one.
Well, that's neat.
That's neat, which means one of them canceled their subscription.
That's okay.
And they joined together.
Times are hard.
No, I think it's a cool thing.
I think it's awesome.
Little.
Lisa.
U.
Kiko.
Jill.
E.
Brian.
H.
Nico.
P.
Robert.
D. W. W. B.
Correct, Robert B. I'll give you 3 chances to hit it while I'm staring at you if you're wrong.
God.
Jason.
W.
Sophie.
M.
Raj.
C.
Joshua.
D.
Jennifer.
N.
Stacy.
L.
Jamal.
F.
Janelle.
B.
Mike.
E.
L.
Don Supremo.
99.
More.
Santiago.
M.
Chad.
D. B.
Chad.
R. L. Y. W.
W.
I
Correct.
thought I already said that.
Leanne.
P.
Maddie.
S.
Belinda.
N.
Dave.
H.
Dave Hall. I love my Dave Hall. He's very, very subtle. Subtle. He's got a cat. Sheila.
G.
Brad.
D.
Ray.
H.
Tabitha.
T.
Tom.
N.
Talia.
M.
Betsy.
D.
Rhiannon.
C.
Corey.
L. M.
Corey.
N.
What goes with Corey? Corey.
K.
Correct. Dev.
Nexon.
Michelle.
D.
Nothing Canadian.
E.
Yep. Correct. Jeremy.
C.
Brandy.
C.
What comes after Jeremy? C. Brandy. D. Correct. Joni
R.
comes before Brandy's Jeremy C.
B.
Joni B. Then there's Joey.
Oh no, it's getting rough. L.
Just think Joey.
C.
Joey McIntyre from
Joey McIntyre?
Backstreet Boys? Or is that In Sync? Or is that 85 Degrees? Or what are you talking about here?
No, wait, isn't the McIntyre's then a new kid on the block?
New Kid on the Block.
Yeah.
Joey M.
Yeah.
Eugene N.
Leah.
Correct. Corey. Angela.
F.
Fuck. Mel.
C. S.
Christine.
C. This is getting bad.
S. Eric H. Shane R. Andrew M. Amanda R. Jen B. Kevin E. Stephanie K. Jorel Jammin.
J.
Leanne.
P.
No.
And.
And.
I don't
No,
know.
Jammin J and Leanne J. There's a Leanne P, but it's Jammin J, Leanne J.
Okay.
Luna R. Mike F. Met all these guys. Stone H. Just hung out with him. Kayla. Stay Wild Moonchild. Brian L. Kendall L. Kara C. Jessica B. Kyle F. Hey, buddy. How you doing? Marisol P. Kaylee J. Brian A. Ashley F. Marion Louise L. Rumya B. Frank B. Jen T. Nikki L. April R. Derek N. JD Ward. Oral P. Ginger Insomniac. Rachel D. Lorelei L. Melissa H. Nicholas W. Stephanie and Evan. And that's it. And those are the top tier patrons. We love you very much. And you mean a lot to me. And if, thank you. And that's about it for today's podcast. So from Michael Rosenbaum here in the Hollywood Hills of California.
I'm Ryan Hayes. I'm here too.
Are you?
Am I?
Peace, sign, and a wave to the camera. We love you. And be good to yourself.